Hey guys, sometimes when you're out looking for a business to acquire, you think you're looking at a business because it looks like a business. It's got revenue and earnings and all the rest of it. But the truth is, it's not actually a business, okay? And it can be a little confusing. And I think that it's almost a root cause for one of the reasons why people get hung up in terms of like, okay, what do I offer? How do I tackle this risk and all the rest of it? And so I think that a big part is just understanding that you're looking at something that looks like a business, but it doesn't actually have the things that make it a business, okay? So we're gonna break that down in this video. My name is Walker Dybel. I am the Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author of Buy Then Build, creator of the Acquisition Lab. Listen, I've consulted on over 300 transactions, okay? Even more that didn't close, plenty of my own. And the last three buyers I talked to, we were going through, their deals or the deals they were looking at, and or they had under LOI or whatever, and they all kind of had the same questions. And I just saw this pattern, which is what is the spirit of this video. And the thing is in one instance there was someone who had a print brokerage company where they had the relationships with all the companies and people that were buying printing, and then they had relationships with all the printers, and they were sort of able to place the right things in the right places, right? And then there was a marketing agency that did websites and all the rest of it. And then there was the last one was sort of like a corporate events kind of business, okay? Here's the point. Each and every one of these businesses can be a business, but in each and every one of these instances, in the specific situation, it was not, okay? So let's break down what that kind of looks like, all right? So let's see. I'm gonna draw a triangle here, okay? And I want you to imagine that this triangle is sort of making up, all of the tasks and time that is spent inside a business. And we're gonna call this, this is like the owner is sort of sitting up top. And when you start a business or you buy a business or whatever, you're sort of responsible in terms of overseeing everything that's kind of happening in that business, right? And so on the one hand, you've got, sort of attraction of customers. Then you've got conversion, of these prospects to customers. And then you have sort of like the delivery of the, product or service that the business is serving to its clients, right? So you've got the owner has to attract, convert, deliver, and all of the things inside, the company that sort of make it the company, right? And so, the first thing is, let's take, for example, this print brokerage. The print brokerage, it turns out, was just one individual who had personal relationships with all of the print buyers, okay, and personal relationships with all of the suppliers, but he also had specialized knowledge in terms of all the different types of printing presses, and he could look at a job and understand, okay, well, that belongs on this type of press. Then he would know exactly, who had those presses, okay? Listen, I used to be in the printing industry. I can give a whole hour-long seminar on why this makes sense. But the truth is that this guy worked by himself. He had no employees. He had all the specialized knowledge. He had all of the relationships, okay? And so although it had, decades worth of revenue and earnings, it wasn't actually a business. There was no machine that was doing all of this stuff. I once had a call with a potential seller who, he was in charge of attracting all the customers. He did all the sales himself, and he delivered the service with his specialized knowledge. And what I told him was, I can't sell this because it's not a business. You need to liquidate all of your equipment because that's the maximum value, okay? In this print broker situation, he had no equipment. There was no hard assets. It was just this guy's, sort of thing. So that was sort of like level one. Like, it's not really a business, it's a job. And he was doing all of these things. Now, footnote, in any of these examples I'm going to give you, when you're looking at it, I want you to say, like, can I buy this and turn it into a business? Okay, like, what are the things that are missing? And like, use that kind of approach to figure out, like, is it still worth pursuing? And then sort of, evolving it into the business that you want to see, right? And so anyway, so this is, the owner was doing all of these things in this example. Now let's look at this marketing agency. We had a marketing agency where, the seller kind of brought in all of this. I'll just call it low wage, okay? So it's sort of like all of this low wage kind of tasks were outsourced to like sort of junior employees, right? And so you had this owner that was doing all of the real design, but just outsourcing the labor of it, and then had a big influence on attracting and converting the customers, and then was just sort of outsourcing delivery with all these low-waged people that were easily replaceable. Okay, maybe there was some SOPs, whatever, right? But this is sort of one step above doing it all myself, right? And so let's just say I had some, contractors, overseas or whatever, doing some low-wage stuff. This is still, it's a little bit more of a business, but it's not quite a robust machine, right? And it's one of these that had, in this specific instance, the business didn't really have anything that had a barrier to entry or any kind of moat whatsoever. If there was a moat around this, like say for example, it had a specific online channel that it worked on, say Angie's List or something. So it's a home service company. The owner does all the thinking and all the whatever, and then he's got some low paid people in the background. I don't know if this works exactly, but it's one of those things where if they are on Angie's List and they attract and convert off of Angie's List and they have like 1,000 5-star reviews, then all of a sudden you have something that is worth buying because there's an infrastructure there that's worth transitioning. But short of something else, okay, this is just one step above a job, and there's a lot of specialized knowledge that would need to transfer in this situation. Okay, now knowledge is actually that next thing. So knowledge, if the owner is breaking down their brain and putting it into standard operating procedures and bringing people in, and all of a sudden it's not the owner's brain that's executing on the specialized knowledge, but instead there's all of a sudden a machine, okay, that is kind of delivering all of this stuff, then that's sort of the next step, okay, out of a job and into a business. It's starting to look like a business, isn't it? The next thing that happens is like usually brand, right? So if they can outsource the brand from their own personal brand to the brand of the company, okay, now this is looking like a business, right? And so it's one of these where sometimes you see businesses where the owner is a big part of the brand, but they've outsourced their knowledge and SOPs and processes, and they've got some workers in there that are doing all the admin stuff. So this is a business, right? And then the next step is you outsource the brand so that it's not, the Walker Dybel show, it's buy then build or acquisition lab or whatever it is. And then the last thing is sort of, relationships. And I guess I could call it key relationships. The point is go back to that, broker example, right? Or go to the events situation. So the events situation, they had all the knowledge, it was a personal brand, they had all the relationships, and they only had low paid employees doing some of the work, okay? Again, it starts to look like not a business, right? And so you need something else, right? And so the key relationships is sort of the last part, right? So if they're able to attract, convert, deliver without their own effort, if they're able to outsource the admin, bring in knowledge workers, outsource the brand to the company brand, and outsource the key relationships, maybe even operations would be the last thing to, where that the owner's completely removed. And so that's this sort of going from not a business to a full suite business ladder, okay? I'm Walker Dybel. We started the Acquisition Lab in 2019 in order to help first-time and existing entrepreneurs buy existing businesses rather than starting from scratch. To date, we've got over 200 million in member acquisitions. We anchored in world-class education. We've got a truly vetted community. Only about 70% of applicants are extended an offer. 25 to 30% of applicants are extended an offer to enroll. We've got all the tools, supplier network, and everything that you need, and then obviously all of the coaching calls, advisory calls. We've got I think one every single day. And so, ultimately it's a community of people with a similar language working towards the common goal of buying an existing business. And so check it out, acquisitionlab.com. We'll see you on the inside.